Okay.
It's coming right now.
Here it comes.
Hold off.
Good evening, folks. We're here for a zoning board of appeals hearing and public hearing and then discussions. And I would like to open the meeting at this time. And first order of business is election of officers, the chair position and the secretary. I guess at this time I'd entertain any motions for anybody to nominate someone for chair and secretary.
Nominate Sean Shoemaker for chair.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I think we got a vote.
Vote on it. Okay, secretary?
The bylaws go back to the secretary. I don't know if we've ever, since I've been on the board, I don't know that we had a secretary. But the bylaws do call for one. In the past, as far as the planning board went, they always had a secretary that signed those conditional uses or letters or whatever. Now, I believe you've been signing those.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, when I read the bylaws, it said that there were two positions.
Yeah.
That's why they were on the agenda.
I got reading it last night, so I don't know that we need a secretary, but if the
We're gonna
secretary.
nominate and elect one and keep them carry on the duties of chair.
Whoever we elect would actually have come in after the meetings to sign what you've been signing in the last 2 or 3 years as chair.
I always thought the chair had to sign them for the,
I always signed them as a secretary on the planning board. The chair didn't sign it, especially if it was something that was going to be recorded over in Alfred and,
well, yeah, it's being recorded, so
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know. I don't know.
I can attempt to do some research on that and then let
Yeah,
you
well,
all
I think
know.
that the secretary can prepare all the documentation, whoever the chairman is
Yeah,
should
and the
sign
chair,
it.
I mean, that's why I'm throwing this out, is because since I've been on the zoning board in the last 5 years, I don't think we ever had a secretary. We never elected one, but the bylaws do require it, so.
Right. And it's more,
Technical.
fill the position, but the,
The hired secretary does all of the paperwork and.
they do a great job at
Yeah.
it, so why mess that up?
Yeah,
And, yeah, we'll just keep it the same, that the chair signs the papers
Yeah.
unless there's a problem, but
Okay,
that's how I keep it. Yeah. Okay, so we need a nomination for a secretary.
Nominate Dwayne Woodsum as secretary.
I'll second that.
what I get for opening
If he didn't nominate you, I was going to.
All those in favor? Perfect. Okay, officers have been elected. We're going to call the public hearing to order at this time. And I would ask at this time for the ZBA members to introduce themselves. Starting my right,
My name is Dave Barker.
Sean Shoemaker,
Rich Wasina?
Dwayne Woodson.
okay? And I would also ask that the audience members sign in on the sign-in sheet this time. Okay, the purpose of this hearing is to review the administrative appeal application of James Maxfield. The applicants are appealing the decision of the code enforcement officer for maintaining a 40-foot setback in order for the construction of a garage. Property is located at 6 Bay Cove Circle, North Waterboro, tax map 45, lot 1376. At this time, the board has to determine if it has jurisdiction under section 11.04 of the zoning ordinance states that the decisions of the code enforcement officer must be appealed within 30 days to the zoning board of appeals to the town of Waterboro by applicant or aggrieved party. I guess at this time I would entertain a motion or discussion as to whether we have jurisdiction.
Well, I think we've got a letter here.
We do, but I gotta go through this process before I get to the letter.
Do we, or do we just?
Yeah.
All you gotta go through is
We gotta go through,
public-
just,
You gotta go through the public hearing, but then,
we're just, what I did, and then the board's gonna determine if we have jurisdiction, then I'll read the letter right after that.
okay.
Yep. Yeah, so, how's the board, members feel as jurisdiction? It's an administrative appeal of the code enforcement office decision, so, as long as everything was submitted in a timely manner.
I believe that
Then,
we do have, everything was done in a timely manner, and that we do have the right to go in front of jurisdiction over the,
Okay, that can be a motion,
yep.
second,
I'll second that.
all those in favor? Unanimous? Okay. We have determined that we have jurisdiction. Now I will read code enforcement officer letter, excuse me, stating that the appeal has been resolved. And that letter states that dated November 12th, 2014, addressed to Mr. James Maxfield, 129 County Farm Road, Dover, New Hampshire. Subject is 6 Bay Cove Circle, map 45, lot 1376. The letter states, Mr. Maxfield, based on our discussions on November 12, 2014, in a review of the submitted garage plans with a 40-foot front setback, the permit number 13-002 can be extended. Based on my conversation with the town administrator, there will be no extension fees. Please note that you will also need to provide this office with a garage foundation certification noting that the 40-foot setback has been met. This survey has to be signed by a state of Maine licensed surveyor. The survey must be received prior to any further construction on the garage. Failure to meet the 40-foot setback will or could require you to remove the foundation to meet the setback and or a fine of $50 a day, and it will result per Town of Waterboro zoning ordinance Article 12, Section 12.01. Based on the above, your zoning board of appeals request has been resolved and we do not need to appear. If you have any questions, feel free to contact during normal business hours. Sincerely, Tim Nelson, Interim Code Enforcement Officer. So I assume that you've met with them and you're happy with everything and you don't need to move forward, or do you still want to appeal it?
Good evening. My name's Jim Maxfield. I'm obviously the owner there of the parcel you just discussed. My wife Angela is here, and my children Courtney and Steve are here. I guess in reading the letter, I would ask, I'm not really sure where the 40-foot setback is being measured from. It was the letter. I was requested to do a drawing, proposed location of the garage, and the purpose of the appeal was that the measurement be from the right of way, not from the front lot line. And when I read this, it says that my permit can be extended, but there was a note on the front of the permit that said 40 feet from the front lot line, and that's really what the appeal is about. I'm asking the board I don't understand what this means to me.
The front lot line and the right-of-way line are one and the same. And
Well,
in reading your appeal, it looks to me like you think it's from the traveled way, and that's not the case. It's clearly from the right-of-way. which is also the front lot line. They're the one and the same.
The current zoning in town of Waterboro references everything to a lot line. So that's where you have to meet it, and they've reduced it from 50 feet. I believe it used to be 50 down to 40 feet in there, actually. At one time, not too long ago, it was 50 feet, but all of your ordinances always reference the lot lines, not right-of-ways, because you can look at a road as being the right-of-way, and there really isn't. That whole right-of-way from your lot line to the other lot line, on the other side, if there's property on the other side of the road, is all the whole right-of-way. It's not just where it traverses in there.
Okay, so
And that would be a
in
front
looking at
yard
this
setback.
plan, so do you have the plan in front of you? That, or did, I see Mr. Barker has it, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I have one for each of you.
I'm all set.
I got
No,
one.
wait, I've
We're all
got
set
it.
right here. I know what it is.
So the letter, based on your response to this, I'm assuming that you're saying that, right now you think that it's from the front lot line.
Oh,
Lot line
I know
or
it is.
right of way is the same exact thing now.
If-
I've got two maps here.
Well,
Well, and you know,
maybe
actually,
that's
this-
why we're here.
No, this second map clearly shows the right-of-way, and that's where you measure from. This map here is just incorrect. Somebody has extended this line all the way to the traveled way, and I suspect that's why Mark specifically wrote on the permit front lot line, because he was suspicious that someone was gonna maybe try to go to the traveled way.
Well, the line showing his dimensions are showing to
Okay.
the further extension, but you're not, you've
So-
gotta go by your actual property pins
Yeah.
that designate your area. You can't use the right-of-way that's being unused by the general public to create your setbacks. It has to be on your property.
So, I guess with what I'm hearing from the board, then yes, I would like to continue with, if that's the opinion, that's the reason for the hearing, and I would like to talk to you about that. And if now is the appropriate time to continue, I'll
Okay.
ask permission through the chair to do so. If this board is indicating that the front setback, the front yard setback is from the front property line, then that's why I would need to continue with the public hearing and present information to you.
Okay,
Because it is our opinion that it does not, after reading the ordinance. And I know that that is probably not the way you've done business, so I'm just going to ask you to listen with an open mind. And if now is the time, great.
Okay.
If not,
if you wanna continue with the hearing, we'll be happy to do that, and we'll take this letter from the interim code enforcement officer, and we're gonna dismiss this. We'll leave it in public record here that he has submitted it to you with an offer
yes.
to extend and go from there. Now, understand that this purpose of this public hearing and this is to determine if the code enforcement officer acted properly in his determination of the ordinances and codes of the town of Waterboro. That's all. Now, that being said, I guess we'd have to look, and if you're denied or if we find that the code officer did act properly, you do have other means to go and ask for, some enforcement, but we'll get to that. I guess we'd have to see if he'd be able to apply for a hardship variance request if we deny this, but we can go there. But at this point,
I would like you to think positively that you're going to
You-
see
you
things
got-
differently.
it's my job to tell you what's what. We've
Okay.
done this, and this whole request that you have is an administrative appeal application, which specifically says that we need to make the determination as to whether the code officer interpreted the codes properly and issued the correct permit.
So
Okay.
what he's trying to tell you is, if we vote in favor of the code enforcement, then you've got to start completely over.
Right.
Everything that you've done so far,
Such as, what do you mean
as
completely?
far
over?
as
You'd have
any
to
of
Your
this,
get
appeal
in for a
process. Your appeal, because you've asked for an administrative appeal, not a hardship variance. If you need to reduce your setbacks, that's a hardship variance request, and that's a whole separate.
Yes, thank you for making that point.
So,
Because I really feel that if we, roll our sleeves up, and when you direct me to do so, I think I'll roll my sleeves up and dig right into the mud, and go through why we believe that it is not the front property line. And I do understand that if you disagree with us, that we would have to go and apply for a variance. But I would like to say that we have been 100% transparent with this whole final phase of this garage, and I take the ordinance, in reading it seriously, and I take trying to, get compliance seriously. So, if I understand that if you disagree with our opinion, that we would have to go seek a variance. But in order to apply for a variance, I think a variance is a last-ditch effort, right? You're really not supposed to give them out unless it's the last
you gotta
resort.
prove a hardship.
Yeah.
Right. It's the last resort. And so I think that this step is another box to check in the, if I have to go the variance way, then I have to go the variance way. But the letter asks for something that I can't provide.
What's that?
I can't meet that 40-foot setback. So, is that what I'm understanding that you're trying to tell me?
I think you're asking us to try to vary the definition of setbacks.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
This isn't
this
the
is what
place
the
for that.
appeal is on the code enforcement's interpretation based on our conversations prior to me submitting the building permit.
Okay.
And that is, he did not interpret the zoning ordinance correctly, in our opinion. Therefore, we have to appeal his administrative decision. And unfortunately, that's why we're all here tonight.
Okay. You're familiar with the land use charts in the ordinance, and that's pretty much tells what the setbacks are gonna be from the front, side, rear.
Okay.
And those are lot lines. They're your property lines. You can't use a right-of-way as part of your property because it's not your property. So your setbacks have to go from your property lines.
Right.
And where you
It's very
measure
clear.
from, and where you measure from is universal from town to town. I mean, this isn't one of these real fuzzy areas. This is pretty well defined where you measure this from. So if you're asking if you're going to have some latitude for us to just
I'm not asking for any
arbitrarily change
latitude.
it, I mean,
I'm asking for, I want to appeal the administrative decision. I want to appeal the way that the code enforcement officer interprets the village residential setback. So if you want me to, that's what we're here for.
Based on what? I
Okay.
mean, what's
Well,
your basis?
right,
of that?
and so
Because-
if you give me the direction to go move forward, I'll move forward. So before I start, thanks for being here, taking time away from your families. to do that. And I've already told you that this is the final phase in our project, and unfortunately, it's taken us this long to get to this point. To construct the garage, I wanted to start last spring, but it didn't work out. And so the point of the matter is, I took the time to go in and meet with Mr. Mitchell prior to submitting the building permit application to make sure anything hadn't changed from when we originally started this process. And I think in front of you, I think I saw on Mr. Barker's desk, or was it over here? There was a hand-drawn sketch that somebody mentioned, right here. This one. This is the same.
Same thing. Someone
Just-
put those numbers in there.
Right.
Yes, I put them there.
Yeah, what
And I
kind
put
of-
them there with Mr. Mitchell. I drew that in his office in front of him. Again, I was 100% transparent as to what it was I was doing. And I will tell you that I drew it with this little homemade thing based on his direction. I will also say that I went there to see him because I said, Mr. Mitchell, this is my issue. My issue is that I cannot meet the measurement from the 40-foot property line. Now this drawing and this drawing here are the same. It's just one was produced by Kevin McEnany and one was drawn on hand sketched. They're the same. They're exactly the same. What is different is, but I don't want to jump ahead too far.
What's the date?
Oh, there's no date on this. Oh.
This 42 shouldn't be drawn in that direction. It should be perpendicular to the line.
Well,
That's the
I
problem.
understand that, and that's why we're here. I understand that, and that's why we're here. Again, I'm trying to be 100% transparent.
It doesn't matter. The rules are the rules.
I would like to ask you guys to be patient with me. There is a series of information that I have to say why this may have been interpreted incorrectly.
I guess I
in-
would have a question for you before we move any further with this. You submitted with the paperwork an engineered sketch of this property dated July 3rd, 2002,
That's a foundation certification.
okay?
Yeah.
And now you've come back with a new one dated November 3rd, 2014,
Yes.
which is not what was submitted with the application.
Well,
And
The-
now you're
the-
submitting
No,
this,
no, no,
which
no,
is
no.
different than that. Well,
no, let me try to clarify. The 2002 one, I'm sorry, I don't have the date there.
Yeah, this one.
November
That is the
2000
foundation
2001.
certification for the foundation that exists currently.
That one was probably put in
Correct.
2002.
That may be, but that's what he submitted to us, and now he's come back with a whole different plan.
Well,
Yeah, with
it's
different
it's
numbers.
not different.
The plan's irrelevant, actually. You still have to comply with the front setback.
No, it is.
Yes, you
There is-
have to comply with the front yard setback.
That's right. But it is relevant for the information that he submitted in his application.
So again, trying to be 100% clear to the building official before I dropped off the building permit. I went in, I met with him. I said, I can't be 40 feet from the front lot line. The zoning ordinance, I want you to think about what I'm going to say. And it was the dialogue I had with him. Point being is he said, oh, I'll think about that. Okay. So then some time went by. I dropped my building permit application off, all submitted, and I dropped it off. It was, I think it was a Friday before Christmas, but it's irrelevant when it was. I dropped it off I told him this is what I was going to do. I drew that just like that, and I said, this is where I want to build this. And he said, I think we can make this happen. I said, great. So I left it there. He said, come back in a few days. He was going to his family's and get it. I didn't want to bother him. I didn't go back until the 15th of January when I hadn't heard from anybody. It was December 21st when I dropped it off. So I'd given him almost 3 weeks, which I thought was fair. I stopped by to pick it up and asked him if my permit was ready, and he had said that it wasn't ready. He said, you didn't leave me one. I said, yeah, I did. It's on your desk. He went and got it, and he said, oh, I'll fill it out, come back in the afternoon. So I did do just that. I went back in the afternoon, I got it, I left, and it wasn't until recently when I noticed this note on the front, and I said, well, that's not what we agreed to. He said I needed to file. I said, I don't want to file an administrative appeal. I said, I came in and met with you. Point being, he said, well, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I think I'm going to go to work for another town, so you don't even have to come in and meet with me. You can wait till the next guy comes in. I said, okay. So, point being, to this date and time, I wasn't really shown where in the ordinance I was in violation. I wasn't given an article. I wasn't given a section. So, in my own mind, I can tell you, and if I don't do a good job tonight, I'm not really sure exactly what I know what I don't agree with, but I'm not sure if I may miss an article or a section. So again, being 100% transparent, I went in, met with him.
Is the foundation in at this time?
For the garage?
Yeah, you haven't
No.
installed that, have you?
No.
Well, then you're not in any violation.
Well, but I can't build my garage.
Install it.
But I can't build my garage.
Yep, well, but that's a whole, you've asked for us to review whether the code enforcement office interpreted the ordinance correctly. And if he looks at the land use chart and it says 40-foot setbacks, that's what he's required
I agree.
to assign
I agree.
for the setback.
I agree 100%.
Okay?
And under our definition right here, a front yard setback, the minimum horizontal distance from the edge of a public or private right-of-way to the nearest part of the structure. Which
I
is
agree.
your right-of-way, not like we were saying, not where they're
The road.
traveling, but the right-of-way.
Property, which is defined as your
Right,
property.
and all front line, all your front line lot line is the edge of your right-of-way.
It's your property.
I agree that that's exactly what the front yard setback says. However, when you look at the definition of setback, the setback definition is the minimum horizontal distance from a lot line, the normal high water line, or the side of a right-of-way easement or deeded right-of-way. The setback definition clearly says lot line.
No, that's side lot line. That, it doesn't say side, but that's what it means because all front,
It's the lot line, it can be,
Plus
it's
your
all
right-of-way.
four lines, it's all four sidelines. There's
Setback.
no question about that.
Setback,
There's no question that it's referring to your property lot lines, not the right-of-ways or the bypass of any roads in there. It's clearly to your property lines.
please hear me out. Front yard setback does not say lot line. It does not say front lot line. It says front private right-of-way or nearest point of structure. We agree on that. Setback says from the front lot line. It clearly says lot line. The purpose, I want to look at the ordinance in general. Section 1.02, the purpose of the ordinance is to promote health, safety, morals, general welfare of the town of Waterboro. The intent of the whole ordinance is to regulate and restrict the use of lands, waters, restrict lot coverage, population, but the big thing it says is promote the safety and efficiency of streets and highways. Promote the efficiency of streets and highways.
Yeah, that's true,
Now,
they still
you-
have a front setback.
I understand, I understand.
You've got a right of way in between your property and the property could be across the street.
Just bear
That
with-
road could be built anywhere in that right of way.
Right.
They have that right,
Yes, they do.
okay? So your property line is the edge of all right of ways, period. There is no green belt, there is no buffer zone in between you. Some of these lots in this development have a 10-foot buffer between you and the people behind you.
Yes.
You still can't use that as your property line, no more than you can use the width of the right-of-way of the road in front of you. It clearly, I think that the code enforcement officer interpreted his decision was based on the ordinances as written by the town, which says that the lot line is the front yard.
Mr. Chairman, I hear what you're saying. I would respectfully ask that you hear me out, and I want to point out the differences. The ordinance uses the term right-of-way. It is an undefined term in the ordinance. It is a legal term of art. In a legal dictionary, the right-of-way is a traveled way. And a right-of-way is a common term. It's a person's legal right established by usage or by contract to pass through grounds or property owned by another person. That's the actual road on the face of the earth.
No,
I'm not
you're
saying...
talking about an interest, you're talking about a legal interpretation.
Yeah, I would say that at
Not
this
where
point,
is it on the face of the earth.
at
It's very
this point,
different.
if this is, what he wants to do, then I think we really need to have legal representation here to interpret our zoning the way that we do is correctly. And I would ask that, that at this time, we would do that, request to have legal counsel look at this interpretation here. Give us their opinion. They don't necessarily have to be here, but I'd like to have them review it and give us their opinion.
Do you want me
Anybody
to
else feel-
continue?
Yes, I agree with that, we need to have,
I'd like a motion
Legal.
then that we seek
Yeah.
legal counsel on this.
I'll make the motion that we seek legal counsel to determine the exact wording of what the right-of-way is.
In the setback.
Can we make a motion to approve or deny the application instead? I mean, do you guys
No.
really need,
Well, he's asking us to continue on, and he's bringing up areas that I think that we need to have someone look at it and tell us. 'Cause
Legal.
He's referring to
I
his
would like to
interpretation
even,
of a right-of-way,
he,
and
I would like to even offer that since no one has been willing to sit down with me and tell me, Mr. Maxfield, the front yard setback includes the front property line because section blah, 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 section. Nobody has been willing to this point. It's been over 2 years. Nobody's been willing to sit down and give me the time of day. Now, I already have a legal opinion. And what I would like is I would like the time of day to do this in a non-public forum because I think there's going to be some weeds that we find in the garden.
What now?
I think there's going to be some weeds that we find in the garden. I think that it's going to be a debate. I think
Well, I
there's going to
think
be a debate.
The ordinances are pretty straightforward in the town.
I think it is.
They've been in existence for
Yes.
a multitude of years, and to
If you notice...
and I believe that the interpretations to this day are,
It's right here. If you go into the definitions, and if you'd have bought a zoning book to
It's
realize it,
black and white.
it's right in black and white. Front yard setback, minimum horizontal distance from the edge of a public or a private right-of-way to the nearest part of the structure.
I got it right here.
which that includes,
I agree to that.
that
And
includes
that's
overhangs,
for-
stairs, decks.
From the right-of-way,
That
the
includes
right-of-way.
the edge of the building.
The right
The
of way.
right-of-way is from one property line to the other.
Is the front lot line.
You can't claim some
Not
right
according to
of
the
way.
ordinance.
Is between the two
Yeah, it
pins.
is.
Your full right-of-way is between your property pin and the next one across the right of way. It's not just the travel area. It's the whole section between the two properties. That's where it is.
It
That's
is
your
not
front
Not
lot
defined,
lines.
that's the problem.
and that's the trouble that I've had.
That's
It's an
what we're
undefined.
trying
It is actually defined.
If
What-
you look up the planning board's approval of this subdivision, the
Yes,
day they signed it, it has the width of that right of way,
Right.
which goes from one pin across the road to the pin on the other side. That is their right of way, and it should be fairly consistent. And that would be in the plan that was approved by the,
this
the
is
planning
the
board-
dialogue that I would have liked to have been given rather than having to waste your time as zoning board members. But I was not given this by any CEO.
Whoa. It ain't up to the CDO to give that to you. That is your duty to go to Alfred and
And
pay
get
for
that.
that,
That is
or
right.
get it off your computer, or it's up to you as a landowner to do your own research.
Right.
And
if they
If you would've
happen to
come in
give
and
you
bought this
help, you're
book,
lucky.
and gone to the registry and researched it on your own, you
Sir,
would have
I-
known that.
Sir,
The part
Bought the
I
book.
like-
sir, with all due respect, I did, and that's why we're here.
Well, can I ask you
That is
something?
exactly why we're here. It's an undefined term in the ordinance. Therefore, you go to a legal definition of what it means.
But can I, what has your licensed land surveyor given you for advice? What does he think that front setback is? That's what I'm
That-
curious. Since you've actually hired one, I'd like to know what he has
Yes,
said.
and again, being 100% transparent, I had this whole lot surveyed again. Because Mr. Mitchell agreed when I dropped the building permit off.
Yeah,
on
but my
December
question
21st.
is he advising you to measure your setback from this road, from this
Your
line?
surveyor.
What's
The
your
guy that
surveyor
presented
say?
this, the guy that prepared this, it hasn't stamped it.
He,
Right.
This is
he,
unstamped.
Not this one either.
no, and he didn't stamp that because it's a proposed drawing, and it's not a survey, and it's not a zoning, it's not a boundary, it's not a certification, that's why that's not stamped. It's the
Okay.
same guy, he's a Maine licensed land surveyor.
But he must have given you some advice.
I drew that line on there at the request of Tammy. We went and did that, and I have her email. Right here.
You still haven't answered me. Have you bothered to actually ask a professional land surveyor what the definition of the front setback is and where you would measure that? Have you? Because
He
that's
said
road.
it's from the right of way.
He's right.
Which
Which is what?
So
What
which
does the
is
town
on
say right
the
of way
road?
is? That's the
No,
problem.
That is the
Not
right of way.
front lot
No,
line.
it doesn't,
A
the
right
road
of way
can
is
be
between the
paved
two
or
pins,
gravel
from your
anywhere.
front lot line to the next one across the right of way. That whole distance is the right of
ludicrous
way.
to measure from the traveled way because it would literally vary all the time.
Exactly.
No.
So that's
It's
why you
not
don't.
the
That's
way
why
the
a
ordinance is
right of
done.
way is between the two properties, the full distance. between
Maybe the
Look,
ordinance
I-
needs to be defined.
Now, wait a minute.
The
Hold on,
plan-
hold on.
Stop, everybody, for a minute. The plan that was submitted to the planning board for this development, original plans show the width of that right of way. Whether it be 50 feet, 60, I don't know what that number is, we can look that up. But that
1969
property,
It's-
through 1972, those plans was approved by the Waterboro Planning Board and recorded in Alfred, and it's still recorded as a subdivision. There was 3 sections.
Yes.
The first one was done before even state zoning came into the state, and that was one of the big subdivisions in the state of Maine that created zoning in most of these towns.
Yes.
And there's a role model right there, and it definitely lays those roads out to the footage and the length of the road and the whole 9 yards with either hammerheads or cul-de-sacs at each end of every road.
His advice is what your definition says. We don't dispute what the definition says. We are disputing the interpretation of it because right of way is an undefined term.
we
And,
have the plan for this Bay Cove Circle,
and,
I think probably the
so that we can look and see what their designated right of way, the width of that road was.
I
And
can,
the creation of that.
it's right there.
subdivision.
It's right here.
It's
I
right
want
there.
to see
I can tell you,
It's all
I
right
wanna
there.
know the width.
it's 50 feet.
It's 50 feet.
I understand, but there's a point behind
No,
it.
I get you. I mean, and
It's
I,
50 feet,
and I don't-
it's 50 feet.
I've been holding my tongue because I don't feel it's my place to throw my professional expertise around, but I am a Maine licensed land surveyor. And I've surveyed hundreds of lots in Lake Arrowhead, and every town in southern Maine, and everybody measures setbacks the same way. So, for what it's worth, you can continue going with this if you
Yeah.
really think we're wrong, but I think you're gonna sabotage your permit, and
Well,
For sure.
what am I sabotaging?
Well, if-
They're telling me, I've said where that garage can go. And
Oh, you
I'm
said where
here,
you'd like it to go.
exactly,
Right.
exactly.
And what the town is telling you, what the code officer says, you can put that anywhere on your property as long as you meet that 40-foot front yard setback. And you have to take into account overhangs, any part of that structure,
understood.
okay? So that's what he's told us, and he's interpreted this by the ordinances that are here.
How close are you?
5 feet in that one corner. Yes, I've spent all this money to be 100% transparent.
You can't just slide the garage back.
Well, I mean, one of the concerns I have is that
Would I be
the
here?
drawing you submitted with your application and the one you brought tonight are two different things. This one now shows a deck in the front.
Mr.
Is
Shoemaker,
your front of your deck 108 feet from the water like you indicate here?
Mr. Shoemaker, this is from the footing. The deck was added to the front. I got a building permit for that. That is approved. This foundation, I did not want to cloud the issue at all by addressing anything other than the garage and the front setback, because everything, the location of this and this are the same. Yes, he did not put those on there, but I don't think he had to, and I don't think it really. I know you think that they're different, but they're the same. It's the same guy. It's the same computer software. It's the same. I stuck to the same person for that
But
reason.
there's
Some
12 years in difference
But
of
the
the
foundation-
survey, and the information is different. You're showing 42 feet straight on and 43 at an angle with it here. So your plans are different.
And
But he
then
is
it
showing,
shows
41.
he is showing this one to the
You need
travel
5
way.
feet.
Yeah.
But I think if he goes perpendicular to that line, that won't be 42
No,
anymore.
it's the
It's
same.
not. It's gonna be about 38.
Where did they
Yeah.
come up with 41 on this?
Well, you see,
But they're
my
all
guess-
going to the edge
I'd be
for your
willing to bet
property
that on this
line.
original plan, this stopped at the right-of-way line. See, this arrowhead is computer generated, and this one is hand-drawn. I think it's got whited out and extended. I bet you that had the original distance, because
I mean,
at
It
this
did.
time, he
Right.
just
It
certified
did.
this foundation.
It did, and I did that when I met with Mr. Mitchell to say, Mr. Mitchell, this is what I gotta do.
Yeah, and that's exactly why he wrote on your permit 40 feet
40
from
feet.
lot
He
line,
has
because
the
Right.
front.
As a rule, I've never received a permit that actually had that on there, so he must
I,
have been so
I
concerned
have,
about it.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I figured
when you're
that,
dealing with tight setbacks and
Yeah.
stuff, you have to do that. sometimes.
I figured that we surveyed the lot, and once, initially, we got the foundation certification. I didn't really see the need to have him go back there again, because we were all, we can figure out what the right angle is there, and I didn't want it to be a survey. I wanted to get him conceptually on the same page as me before I left the permit, because if he didn't buy into, and I say this in my appeal application, if he didn't buy into that it was from the right of way, I can't do what I want to
It
do.
is from the right of way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
your property
Your
line is...
travel, you're looking at the right of way and the travel way is two separate, you're thinking
From
that
the-
the travel way
from the front
is
property.
where the guy
Right,
drives his vehicle and plows the snow.
From the front
That's
property line.
not the right of way.
I
The
know.
right of way goes to your property line.
I know.
Very specific.
I knew from day one I could not meet the front property line. I knew that. And that's why I wanted to conceptually get him on board, because if he doesn't agree with that, then there's no sense for me leaving the permit application in his office. because I know I don't meet that.
Well, we can't give you permission to
We're
do
not
something
gonna-
on a right of way.
You're asking for a
I'm not
front yard
asking to
setback.
build,
And that's not what we can do tonight. We're here to determine if the code enforcement officer interpreted the ordinances of the town of Waterboro properly. And at this point,
He did.
you know, we can either
there's some
get
more.
a definition from the attorney to confirm our thoughts on the right of way, or we can determine here as a board that our thoughts are correct as what the right of way is according to the ordinances, and then we can,
Well, before you do any of that, if I can at least finish some points, whether you agree or disagree. I received this letter this morning. Last week, Tammy and I was supposed to have a scheduled meeting with Mr. Nelson, the interim building official. That never panned out until yesterday at 10 a.m. I've spent a little bit of time recently trying to do this, and when I look at the intent of the ordinance, when I look at the purpose of the ordinance, which I think I already spoke with you about, I think it's really important because the town is implicitly acknowledging the fact that the relevant setbacks needs to be from the traveled way rather than the edge of someone's property. Section 1,
you're gonna need to show us that wording specifically. I can tell you that, because that, I would
Well,
highly
read it.
disagree with that, because you would have chaos of people building in the town. Because the road wasn't put in the middle of the right of way, you would have absolute chaos. You would not,
That's why you've got boundary pins up there on
That's
every
right.
lot in Lake Arrowhead.
you cannot
There's not a
use
lot
someone
up
else's
there.
property to determine your setback. And by using, you're trying to use part of
I
that
own
right
part of
of
the
way
road.
that's owned by Lake Arrowhead as part of your property.
I own part of that road.
Right, you don't own the road, you own part of the community. I lived there for many years.
It's not who
yes.
owns the town road? I mean, it's not a town road, right?
No, it's not a town road. It's the Lake Arrowhead Estates.
Lake
I'm
Arrowhead is-
a
It
shareholder.
doesn't matter. It doesn't
They
matter.
have
You
the-
still have to
they
meet
own
all
the
the
deeded right
setbacks.
of way.
And
It's
I'm
like
not
everybody
saying
else.
because I have a sheriff
No,
position
you're
in
not,
it.
you're
Don't think
a
I'm right.
landowner in
Let me
there,
explain
and you
something.
pay membership dues. You're not an owner of Lake Arrowhead. Nobody is.
In order to move that boundary line of that right of way, you got to have about 1,800 people up there sign off saying that you own more than what you own.
Yeah.
And good luck, buddy.
Let's
Good luck.
let's try to focus on the point. The point is the definition of setback clearly indicates lot line. The definition of front yard setback clearly does not indicate front
Yes, it
line.
says your front line is to your right of way.
It does not say front property line.
Well, I don't think we're gaining anything.
No.
yet.
The right of way, Bay
Front-
Cove.
Right there.
Bay Cove
Front yard
is the right of
setback.
way. It has been established by the contract, which is the deed,
There is a plan
and a
that is
usage.
recorded at the Registry of Deeds for the subdivision, which will give you the distance of that right-of-way from any point on that road. You can determine it, it's 50 feet, that means that right-of-way is 50 feet. So you can take the 25 from the center of the road, it doesn't always work that way. It's 50-foot right-of-way, and they are allowed to build that road anywhere in that 50 feet. And what they don't use doesn't mean it's yours now to use. It doesn't work that way.
And I'm not trying to use it.
I will make a motion.
I am not trying to use it to build anything in. What I'm doing is, when you look at that picture that I pictured in front of you,
Which one are we gonna look at? I'm serious. The one you submitted with the application?
this picture
I
right
don't
here,
need the picture, I need a plan. And this is
Right,
a
this-
surveyed plan. One's got a stamp, which is, the emboss is not there because it's a photocopy. The other one has been submitted to this evening, which we didn't have. It's dated November 3rd, 2014, and is not stamped.
but the
So,
building official has that. the building official's office.
Which
is
one
the
did you submit with the request for the appeal this
2002.
evening?
The appeal this
Yep.
evening, sir?
Yeah, which one did you put in with the application?
This one.
I don't know.
You put this one, you just give us this one tonight.
Well, I don't know if I
Okay.
put anything in.
Yep.
I put this one in.
Yep, that was in with the package.
This was
Right.
created
Yep.
at the request of the building official's office.
Yep.
I was told to draw this line to the front, and
Yep.
we would be all set.
Yep,
That's what I was told.
to the nearest point of the lot line. You can turn a
Okay,
house.
okay.
You could turn this garage, and solve your whole problem.
Show me.
As long as you meet your setback.
Show me.
As long as you meet your setback from the water.
Show me, I might do it.
You can turn that at an angle,
'Cause
run
we-
parallel with this road 40 feet back.
Right.
If you're 42 right there, all you can do is turn that a little bit and you'll probably run 40 feet from the road as long as you meet your setback from the lake. Whatever you were granted a permit for from Saco River Corridor. You may be able to do that. And
I don't
you
think
should probably
you can. I think I've already
explore
tried
that.
See, because what I
Well-
was looking at too,
I've
where's
already
this,
tried that.
Yeah.
how did you get this 41 in here on this one?
You have to understand that this was done when there was a wooded lot, and that was the application to Saco River, and that was the application to the town of Waterboro. That's the same application. What we did was, once we cleared the trees, we knew it was close. You're required to get a land surveyor per the ordinance to do that before you, well, that's what it said, so that's what we did. We surveyed the land. Again, I'm
But
telling you,
still-
I'm 100% transparent here.
Yeah, but still, what
I
we're saying
surveyed-
is
I
you're-
surveyed the land,
Mhm.
I knew I was close. Those pins are the footings. That's not, there's even more room than what that
Well, the thing
plan
is,
shows.
still, it's your property.
It's,
We can't deal with a right-of-way because we have a deed here that's a 50-foot right-of-way, which is owned by Lake Arrowhead Estates. You have to go from your property line to the corner of your structure.
now.
That's how the law
And-
reads.
And looking at this garage with the plan that you've submitted this evening, not even going back to the old original one, but if we look at the one you submitted tonight, you have a house with a deck in front of it. If that deck meets the setbacks from the lake,
Yes,
the Saco River Corridor,
Yes.
it's pretty apparent to me that the depth, what's the depth of that deck?
it's 8 feet.
8 feet. Okay, looks like you've got your garage back probably 2 feet on the house.
It's 2 feet forward because of the stairway on the inside to go to the room
So you're
above
two,
the
you're
garage.
back two, what's your distance from the back corner of this garage to the back corner of your house before you come to the front deck?
That's a 2-foot jog there.
Okay, so you get 10 feet. You could move that garage 10 feet. Doesn't have to be on the side of the house, and you'd meet your setbacks then, if you're that close. As long as you're meeting your setbacks from the lake. And if they've granted you 100 feet from the lake, you get that structure permitted 100 feet from the lake. So you could move your garage. To accommodate it.
I do have a permit for 100 feet from Saco
Yeah,
River.
showing you
So-
probably
However-
180,
You have possibilities here,
Well,
but
however, the house was built with the stairway to be there. But the point of the matter is, I don't,
trying to find a way to help you here, but it's very clear
Well, I'll
to us.
tell you, I'm
We're-
gonna be a
our
little
job is to interpret the ordinances as written.
Right.
And myself, I believe that the front lot line and the right-of-way is the same when you have a road traversing in between that property and any adjacent property.
I know this is a change in business. I know that you guys, that the town of Waterboro looks at it from the front property line. And again, sticking with the purpose of the ordinance, that road, there's 5 houses on that road. The purpose of the ordinance is safety, travel. Fire trucks can get down there, whether that garage is if the garage is installed that way, the front lot does not hinder any safety. It doesn't hinder the intent or the purpose of the ordinance. It does, and maybe that's more of a variance argument.
That is,
But-
there's no place for it here, because that's not what we're here to determine.
We are here to.
If we're gonna determine where the right-of-way is.
We're not here to do that.
But
On
you're
that-
asking us to use that right-of-way to determine your setback. And that right-of-way is clearly defined with the plans that were approved by the planning board and recorded in the registry of deeds for the entire subdivision, including that road for Lake Arrowhead Estates. There is no way that anybody in this board has the right to change that line under any condition. Period. That is a recorded, registered line, period. And they can build anywhere in that property, in that right-of-way. That road can be put in. They're not required to be dead center, and the unused land does not go to the abutter, period. That
I'm not saying I
right-of-way
own
is
the right-of-way.
extremely clear in the drawings that were submitted to the planning board and approved and recorded at the registry of deeds.
I'm not asking to infringe on the right of way.
But
I'm asking, or actually, I'm not asking anything. The ordinance does not say.
No,
it does.
And
Yeah,
The
it
ordinance,
does.
the
It
ordinance
does.
is
It does, it's very clear.
It's very clear. It
Very clear.
defines, what
Yeah.
you really need to do is look at setback. Setback is a true definition of a setback. Front setback just simply gets you oriented so you know which side is considered the front, because it's a bigger setback usually.
If it's
It's pretty clear.
if the front yard setback needs to be from the front property line or the edge of the public right of way, then the ordinance should say that. Now, we're not here to change the ordinance.
It does.
We're not.
It
It
states it
does.
right
It
there.
does, buddy. You just gotta
Very
read
clear.
it.
Yeah.
Understand.
Very,
But
very
I'm
clear.
going by the legal definition.
This is
Well,
your
no, it's right
interpretation.
here,
of
written
what you're
right down.
talking about.
This is the law we
This is
have
the
to go
Bible,
by.
this is all.
That doesn't have a definition for right of way.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't have to say right of way, because the right of way is
It's
a
in
right
your
of way.
definition.
And it says right here, front yard setback, edge of your public or private right of way, period, done. That's
50
your front lot
40
line.
feet, yeah.
But
Yeah,
when,
and
at this
And
point,
even in
we're not
setback says
gaining
the same
No.
thing.
I would ask that we close the public comments and proceed on with a vote to whether the code enforcement made the right decision.
I mean, do
The,
you have any, do you have any other new evidence that,
the town-
besides your thoughts on it? Because
the town
we have it in
ordinance.
writing here, exactly what the ordinances say in the setback.
I do.
And we have the plan, so
I do.
if you,
I do. The village district in 3.04 says such structures shall be set back 25 feet from the front lot line. That's very clear.
what,
I can understand that.
yeah, the
I
village,
can understand that.
but you're
I can
not.
say,
You're in a special zone over there.
I understand that, I'm just trying to make a point. My point is, this setback says 25 feet from the front lot line. It doesn't say right of way. It's
Where do you
different.
think your lot line is, buddy?
exactly. In the-
Where do you
Right.
think
You-
that lot line is?
I'm
Is it-
saying-
Is it to the traveled way, or is it to your lot pins that you bought?
I'm saying
You've got a
that
deed.
the right of way, that you can measure,
Before you go any
beyond-
farther, I think you probably ought to go to law school.
Yeah.
And
You-
really
You've got
understand
you've
that.
got to check with someone, if you think that that's your case, we'll be happy to put this off until you can come back with something that'll explain this a little clearer for you, that
I don't know that it's ever gonna be clear until until the ordinance defines right of way.
The ordinance is defined that very clearly. The right of way is the property that the road can traverse on. It doesn't say, there's no ordinance out there that says that road has to be dead center of that right of way. And that property is intended
The
to
state
go
doesn't
from one
even
part of
define
that road to the other. It's just like Route 5 out here. The state owns that road. If they choose not to install the road 10 feet on the right-hand side, that doesn't mean the house that's right there adjacent to it owns to that pavement, or the business owns to that pavement. They don't, and they don't have the right to build and use that as their setback. That's clearly.
I'm not saying I
clearly
wanna
defined.
build in it. I'm not saying I'm not saying that I own
Well,
all
so
of it.
you
I'm
have to
saying-
understand, you want us to redefine what a right-of-way is, and we can't.
We're not.
That
I'm
is
not
state
asking you
statute.
to. It doesn't
A
mean
right-of-way is a right-of-way. Your front yard setback is your property line, period, done.
We've been asked to
Okay,
do an administrative
So-
appeal on an application by you
yeah,
with the code enforcement officer making the determination that your plan that you submitted to him showed that you did not meet the 40-foot setback.
so,
If that is the case, and that's what he denied you, then I would say that he
No,
did
he didn't
everything.
deny it. He gave us the permit.
He gave me the
Right,
permit.
but on that permit, it
Well, how
clearly
can you do that?
states,
That
he
doesn't
can,
make any
he
sense.
most certainly can do that.
No,
Oh,
No.
here's your permit, but by the way, you don't meet it.
No, that permit, he
can.
can write that number
Yes.
on that
And
permit
there-
all day. He
yes.
can do sides, rears, the whole 9 yards.
The responsibility is on you to get that structure to meet the front setback. He can
Yeah.
write the permit all day long.
I agree.
But he wrote it specifically
Yeah.
saying that,
Did.
so that's,
Right.
and you're
You should
asking
have
us.
denied my permit.
No, he granted it right
They
there.
granted you a
With a
permit.
40-foot
for
Granted you
40
a
feet.
permit.
I can't do that.
Then you don't-
Then that's
can't
another
build it.
story, but he followed the interpretation. I feel that he's followed the interpretation. He interpreted the ordinances correctly, and
Do we
So,
have to
You know.
close the public hearing first?
There's
we gotta
one
close the
other-
public hearing.
one other
One
point.
more thing, and then we're gonna close it up.
3.04, I already indicated, clearly measured, indicates in the ordinance from the front property line. In 3 whichever the village district is, and if you can bear with me, I photocopied it from the ordinance.
The
It
village
says-
district is irrelevant here. We're not dealing with the village district.
It's-
We're dealing with your district,
Well, isn't it?
which
isn't-
is,
Village residential.
It's village
40 foot.
residential.
And it used to be 50 feet. You got an extra 10 feet to
Wait
work
a
with.
minute. Arrowhead is village and residential.
No, it's village
Yeah.
residential. It's not
either
village
or.
and,
It's not either
it's
or.
not
It-
village, it's a
we
special
rezoned that
zone
whole subdivision.
created, village residential. It's
I
not a
understand.
village zone or residential, it's village residential.
I
Which
understand.
has a 40-foot setback and 20 feet on the sides, which used to be 35 feet.
Right.
So,
I-
you know, that's why they did it, because they had so many variances coming in. The state says you need to look at this district. So they redistricted it. They give it a new name and new setbacks. And those are all from your property line, period. Whether you right of way or not. It's just like if you have a green belt behind your property that's 10 feet between you and the people behind you, do you think you could use that 10 feet as your property in a setback reduction?
Ask me that one more time, I'm sorry.
The green belts. In Lake Arrowhead, there's several properties that have a 10-foot green belt.
I don't.
There's a strip of land up there.
Yeah, there's all kinds.
Oh, there's
They
an.
run in between lots that abut each other in the
Yes,
rear.
yes.
They have a 10-foot setback.
To walk.
That's a right of way. That's a 10-foot green
Well,
belt.
it
Do you
might be
think, let me
easement.
ask you, do you think that that should be included with your setback for the rear setback and your neighbors? That 10 feet
I'm
right
only,
away?
I'm only here to talk about my
I-
building permit
but-
application and what the, and what the, and
Okay,
what.
but
what-
you've said that you can include the setback, the right of ways, as your setback. And
don't
I'm,
try not
so
to
that's
get
why
hung up
I'm
on
asking
that.
you this question.
Well, that's the
I'm
law.
saying, I'm
That's
saying
what you're
that-
asking us
I'm
to
saying,
do.
I'm saying the ordinance does not say it's from the front property line. Because Because in 3.04, it does say from the front property line, and in the district that I'm in, Village Residential, which is VR, which was amended in March of 2000, it clearly says from this is different. It says from any front yard. It doesn't say property line. It doesn't even say right of way.
Your
Your
front yard, it doesn't
property
have
is
to,
your
because
property.
it's-
You
that's a
can't
given.
use
Your
anybody else's
lot line
property
is
to
your
make
lot
your
line.
land bigger.
So look,
Ah,
is this the front yard? This is the driveway.
I don't care
Is
about
this
your
the
driveway, it's your
side yard?
property. Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
This
That's
is
your
the
front
side
is the front is your road where you
Now,
access from the road to access
If
into
you
your
had
property.
a road on the right hand of your property,
You'd
you'd
have to
have a
meet that.
corner lot.
You'd have
and
two-
your-
You'd have to meet
you'd
that
have
one
two
too.
front yards.
Right.
So,
Right, and I would be saying that you would measure from the traveled way,
No, you would not.
You don't.
You would travel.
which
No.
is,
Nowhere
which
in
is
the
Travel
by
ordinance.
is not gonna
deed,
travel over your pins, but
which
that
is deed and contract.
no.
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 Okay,
At this point, I will close the,
I
Yeah.
will
make a
submit,
motion to.
I
close
would
the
like to
public hearing.
submit,
I'll second that.
you're not gonna let me submit
No.
another.
what is
document.
what is it you need? I'll give them a chance to submit one more item and that's it. It should have been submitted with your application, but we'll go ahead and look at it and
Well,
submit it.
I
I'm giving you
appreciate
the
that.
opportunity
Yeah.
to submit it.
I appreciate that
Yeah.
because in all fairness, I spent $300 to make this plan for you guys last week for the building official to look at.
And you couldn't even stamp it.
Well, I asked him not to. And he couldn't stamp it anyway. This is the legal opinion that I've received. I'd like your attorney to talk to him. And this right-of-way that's on here, the traveled way that's on this plan that's not stamped, that is exactly where it is. It's not a guess like I did on the hand-drawn one. I've highlighted all of those points tonight with what the lot line is, when it's used in the ordinance, when it's not used.
Okay. You submitted it. Anybody have any questions or comments on it?
Mike?
I would
My motion is-
entertain a motion that we close this portion of the public hearing.
So moved.
Second? Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, public hearing's now closed. Okay. Time for the board to discuss. And go from there.
Well, I'll make a motion to uphold the code enforcement officer's decision and determination of front yard setback, or interpretation of a front yard setback.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Motion's been made and granted, denying the administrative appeal by Mr. Maxwell of the code enforcement's decision to require that he maintain a 40-foot setback before he can complete the construction of his garage. At this point, if you are unhappy with this decision, you may request a reconsideration by the board. Parties aggrieved by this decision may appeal it to the Superior Court within 45 days from the date of decision pursuant to 30-A MRSA 2691 and 4353 and Maine Rules of Civil Procedure Rule 80B. Please note that the request for reconsideration must be made in writing within 10 days of the vote by the board. The board must complete all actions on a motion to reconsider within 45 days of the original vote on the decision. If the board votes to reconsider, the period for appeal to the Superior Court will be extended until 15 days after the board's decision on a reconsideration. Otherwise, the 45-day appeal period will apply. Make a motion for adjournment?
Is there any,
So moved.
will I get that, those numbers, can I get a photocopy of that before I leave tonight? That part you just read?
You can have mine.
Yeah.
I will not need it.
Now,
You've been here a while. your experience.
A little bit.
That had the
That's it,
RSA
that's
numbers on
the,
there.
that's the whole agenda that we just went through.
Now, you know, you can go that route if you really think that you have a hardship. If you think you have a justifiable hardship, you're welcome, I believe, to appeal
Appeal it.
for a hardship variance. And bring us the information and why you think you deserve it, why you think that you meet the criteria, and it's very strict criteria for hardship
Yes.
in there, okay? So your avenues aren't completely shut off, but you gotta understand that we're required to look at what happens in the ordinances, and that's as far as I'm gonna go with that
I
conversation
understand,
there. You
yeah.
do have an opportunity to file an appeal for a hardship if you think that's the way you need to go.
So there is a section of the ordinance that allows
What-
for a conditional use.
That's another whole story. We're not here, we don't do conditional uses.
We're not-
That's the planning
we're
board,
not an advisory
and,
board.
That, is that an option?
No.
is your lot under 19,000, what is it, 19,000
No, it's
square feet?
20,000 square feet.
20,000 square feet?
It's
What's,
20,000.
how big is your lot?
It's 21,000
Lot
square
one
feet.
is not,
If it was under 19,000, you could have a setback
man-made-
reduction down to 10 feet.
it's a man-made problem.
What's a man-made problem?
No, you can, no, you can,
You didn't go out there far enough.
but,
With the house, you got 100 feet from the water to the house, and you're in 108, and if you'd have set that whole thing back, you could have,
No, that, it was
no,
the
but a
108, so I
conditional
could
use
put the deck
permit,
on it.
you have to be under, I think
Yeah,
it's
with the deck.
19,000 square feet in that particular zone. Some zones are 80,000 square feet, I think yours is 19.
but
And then you could apply to the planning board for a setback reduction based on the size of your lot. In the ordinance, it allows you to ask for a reduction down to 10 feet. You could be as close as 10 feet to property line.
it's gotta be.
But you've gotta meet the
I only
requirements
want
for
to be
that.
53 feet from the traveled way.
No, we're not talking about travel way anymore. But I'm just telling you
it's
that,
not- It's gotta be a grandfathered lot, and.
and it would be a lot of record prior to zoning.
Yeah.
So you can do it if your lot was under the required, I don't know if it's 19 or 20,000, I don't remember.
I think I'm 21.
And in some of the other zones, it's 80,000 square feet, or something like that, where you could do it. But, as far as this, we're done.
So will I get a written something
Yeah,
from when?
yeah, you'll get our,
I make a
What is this?
motion
I
to
got-
adjourn.
So I,
okay?
Second.
I got what? 10 days to decide
All
whether
those
I'm
in
gonna.
favor?
10 days to do what?
I gotta get
10
ready
days
to
to do
plow.
what?
We're not getting any snow
Right.
for plowing.
Did you just
Don't
say
even talk
plowing?
that way.
No,
I just lost a
I got
tranny in my
seven
plow,
trucks-
I let my
got
son
seven
use
trucks
my,
ready to go.